All right, so let's jump right in. We're about to piece together one of the most incredible puzzles in ancient history. It's a story about a people, a language, and a journey that literally changed a subcontinent forever.
So to get us started, I want you to think about this question. Picture an ancient Vedic priest in India, chanting these sacred hymns. Now picture a Roman centurion, thousands of miles away, barking orders at his soldiers. I mean, what on earth could possibly connect these two people? They seem like they're from completely different worlds.
Well, the answer, and this is pretty wild, is in the words they were speaking. Just look at this. In Sanskrit, the word for father is pitar. In Latin, it's pater. Mother is mathar and mater. Name is namen and nomen. Come on, that's no coincidence. It's like a linguistic fingerprint pointing back to a shared ancestor.
So that brings up an even bigger question, right? How is this even possible? Who were the people that spread this language route across such a gigantic chunk of Europe and Asia? Well, this is where historians and linguists introduce us to the speakers of the Indo-Aryan languages, or for our purposes, the Aryans.
Okay, and this is really important. We have to be super clear about what this term means. When scholars talk about the Aryans of ancient history, they are talking about a linguistic group, a cultural group. It's all about the language they spoke, the stories they told, not their biology or any modern idea of race.
And this matters so much because that word, Aryan, got twisted and horribly misused in the 20th century for some really hateful ideologies. The original historical meaning has absolutely nothing to do with that. Getting that distinction is just crucial to understanding the real story here.
Okay, so if all these languages are related, that has to mean something, right? It means the people who spoke the original mother tongue must have all come from one place. So the next big mystery is, where was that homeland, and how did they end up spreading so far and wide? Well, after decades and decades of research, scholars have started to zero in on one place. Most of the evidence points to the Pontic-Caspian steppe. Think of these huge rolling grasslands in what we now call Ukraine and southern Russia. This was likely the cradle of a culture that was about to explode in almost every direction.
And look, this was not a quick trip. We are talking about a journey that unfolded over millennia. Around 4000 BCE, you've got this unified parent language. Then, fast forward to about 2500 BCE, and you start to see different groups splintering off. And then, around 1500 BCE, one of those branches finally makes its way into northern India. So let's zoom in on that final leg of the journey, their arrival in India. Because here's the thing, they weren't walking into an empty land, not at all. They were arriving in a place that was already home to one of the world's great ancient civilizations. So this wasn't about replacement. It was the start of a massive cultural fusion.
And we get this incredible, vivid picture of who these people were from their own sacred texts, the Rig Veda. I mean, just listen to the energy in this quote. It's all about horses and chariots, key parts of their nomadic, on-the-move lifestyle. It's a perfect little snapshot of their whole worldview.
And when you put these two cultures side by side, you can really see how different they were. You've got the Indus Valley people on one side, they're city dwellers, traders, they even had a written language we still can't read. And then you have the incoming Veda culture. They're nomadic herders with this powerful tradition of passing down stories and hymns orally. And they worshiped sky gods and used fire rituals. I mean, two totally different worlds about to meet.
So that date, 1500 BCE, that's the one to remember. It's our anchor. It's the moment in time when scholars say, okay, this new culture with its new language and its sacred songs is now here, in northern India. It really marks the dawn of a whole new era, what we call the Vedic Age.
So, this migration, it wasn't just some small event, a little footnote in a history book. The ripples from it were absolutely huge. It kicked off changes that would go on to define the future of India and, honestly, in many ways, the rest of the world.
When you boil it all down, their arrival left this massive three-part legacy. First, you get a new language. Sanskrit becomes the language of religion and philosophy. Second, you get new religious ideas. The Vedas become the absolute foundation of what later becomes Hinduism. And third, you get this whole new cultural blend. The fusion of these peoples and their ideas creates the bedrock for everything that comes next in Indian history.
So it leaves you with this kind of amazing thought, doesn't it? The story of the Aryans is this incredible reminder that sometimes the biggest changes in history aren't because of armies or empires. Sometimes it's just words, ideas, and people carried on the move. It really makes you wonder how much of our own world, our own language, was shaped by whispers carried on the wind thousands of years ago.